Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning into CAEL Live. Today, we're talking about internships. Hello again. My name is Ashwati, and if you're joining us for the first time, CAEL Live is an interactive series where we guide you through your journey as an international student. We talk about international student life, admissions, and much more. We will also, of course, be talking about the CAEL test. So if you're an international student looking for guidance, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to be notified about our new episodes. In today's episode, we're talking about yet another popular topic: internship opportunities during your higher education. We have two guests today, a current intern and one who finished their intern and are now fully employed at the same company. Let's go say hello to Karen and Kimsa. Hello, Karen and Kimsa. Thank you both for joining us. So for those of you who have been watching our videos from the start, you may recognize Kimsa. Kimsa, how are you doing?
Hi, can you? Hi, yes, my name is Kimsa. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you for joining us, Kimsa. And we also have Karen. Hi, Karen. How are you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Wonderful. So I already gave a brief kind of introduction of what to expect, but I would like to hear from both of you as well. So Kimsa, why don't you start us off? I would like to know what you're doing at your current job and how you like it.
Yeah, for sure. So, so as Swati said, I did work at Paragon as a marketing intern a couple years ago, but I came back as a full-time employee now, and I am a stakeholder program specialist. And what that means is I get to work as part of the global marketing team to develop and support an engagement strategy with agents and preparation providers. And my day-to-day just kind of includes tasks as communicating with agents and prep providers, and also communicating with the marketing team on how to best support our agents and prep providers.
Wonderful. And Karen, tell us a little bit about yourself and what is your role as an intern at Paragon Testing?
So I'm currently a marketing intern at Paragon Testing, and I've been here since around October. As a marketing intern, I do various tasks with different areas of the marketing team. For example, I do help with the stakeholder networking program. I do help create landing pages, and I screen applications for our network partners. I also help with our social media team. I help create Facebook events and some social media creative content.
Wonderful. Sounds like a fun job. I'm so happy again for both of you to have joined us. We're going to go into a little bit more about like internships in general across Canada. So Kim, so why don't you start us off? What is the difference between an internship and a co-op opportunity?
Yeah, for sure. So a co-op position or it typically looks like a full-time and paid position, and it usually is a longer duration. So it's minimum for at least UBC co-op, because that's what I did. You get 4 or 8 months to 12 months. And this means that your degree will be elongated. So typically students will finish their degree in 4.5 to 5 years. And internships could be full-time or part-time. It could also be unpaid. And they also tend to be just like shorter than co-op programs.
Thank you for that clarification. To be honest, until you explained this, I did not know what was the difference. So I'm pretty sure people who are watching are also pretty thankful for this information. Karen, this next question is for you. What made you decide to look for an internship / co-op opportunity?
So what made me look for like a co-op or intern was that like I knew there was so much to gain from this, and like really nothing to lose. I knew that I would graduate a little late, but then I am graduating with experience, and that is something that employers look for when you're looking for a job in the future. Yeah, I just knew that like this was a great opportunity to gain like a competitive edge, and something that you should take advantage of if you're in university or college.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. And we are going to go into a little bit about searching. Now, international students, especially who are new to the country, new to like the idea of internships in general, we want to know how can they go about looking for an internship. So Kimsa, since you were an international student as well, how did you look for a co-op or internship? What was the process like?
Yeah, for sure. So I was really grateful because UBC actually has a really good co-op program already and is really well established. So I just kind of applied, and when I got accepted, you could see they have a database that includes like all the jobs that you're able to apply to. But I would say one thing that's kind of I guess not tough, but more inconvenient for international students is that not everyone, you're not able to apply to all jobs, because some jobs require that you're Canadian citizen or PR, but that really doesn't limit you. At least that's what I found. I found that there are still so many jobs that you could apply to. And I really found that, how I went about talking, I just talked to a bunch of my advisors, my co-op advisors, and they were able to point me in the right direction on what to apply for and kind of find things that are relevant to like the industries that I want to apply to as well. So I think I really, what really helped me was just being able to talk to the advisors that were there in my institution.
Thank you, Kimsa, for telling us that, and also for the clarification that some people look only for like PRs or Canadian nationals. It's something that I, as an international student, also had to kind of deal with. So thank you for sharing that. You also mentioned in your answer just now, you were mentioning that you applied and you got selected. What's the kind of criteria to get selected? What is something that international students should look out for to make sure that they are selected?
Yeah, for sure. So to get selected, you kind of have to maintain like a good grade point average. So if you know that you want to be in a co-op program, just make sure that you match like the cutoff of the grades, first of all. And more than that, so there are around 3 rounds of the process. The first round is just getting in, applying with the questionnaire, and then after that is a writing essay. So make sure that they want to see that you're professional in the way you're writing and things like that before you get accepted into the program as well. But don't worry too much, because once you do get accepted, there are mandatory workshops and training for you to go through, everything like resume workshops, cover letter workshops, to make sure that you're well fit and suitable to be applying.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And thank you for clarifying that as well. Karen, I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'm wondering, how does it work for domestic applicants? Is it the same? Is it slightly different?
So for me, it's really similar, because I went to SFU and then we had a similar process with like an established co-op database. And so what I did was I applied online and I sent in my necessary documents, and then once I got accepted into the co-op program, for SFU also, there were also workshops that were offered. And then on the co-op website, what's really great is that, well, compared to like other job searching platforms, our database, it's sort of like, it's really exhaustive. So you can apply to like different faculties if you'd like, and if you are qualified. And it's great because these employers that are posting their jobs, they are looking specifically for students. And so on other like job searching platforms, they might have like, they might be looking for full-time like permanent positions. So it's great because people know that we're just students with like little experience.
Speaking of experience, let's go to our next question. What were your expectations when starting? Kimsa, I'm going to have you start this one, because especially since you were an international student, I was an international student, and work culture in different countries are different. And so I had certain expectations when I went to when I was applying for internships. I'm curious to know, what were your expectations?
Yeah, so before I joined, I I guess I was just kind of nervous because I kind of grew up in a culture where, work-life balance isn't really a thing. I was worried about, 9 to 5 is usual, but then, people tend to stay after work, like 9 to 10 p.m. and that's normal, like where I grew up. So, I was a bit nervous about that. And I wanted to kind of experience what it's like to be in the Canadian workforce. And so I kind of just wanted to join just so I can make connections within the Canadian workforce with professionals, because I knew that after graduating, I did want to stay here for a couple of years at least. But I really think, my expectations, like it went above and beyond. It just co-op was so good for me because I realized that Canada has such a good, first of all, like work-life balance, and everyone really cares about your mental health. For example, you're able to really open up to your boss, your supervisors, your coworkers. And so it really was a really comfortable working experience for me. And it was really great.
Wonderful. I'm glad you had a great experience. And I totally kind of empathize with your idea of working late, something very common in my culture, my country as well, back home. Karen, what was your expectation? What were your expectations?
So starting my co-op, I didn't really know what to expect. Like this was my first co-op and my first real job. So I just kept an open mind with it. Yeah, and it did end up being a really great experience that I'm really happy with.
Great. We're going to talk a little bit more about you. We're going to get into a little bit more about experience, but overall, Karen, you're still at the internship. So maybe, we'll ask you this question when you complete it. But Kimsa, I want to know, what were your biggest takeaways once you finished your internship or your co-op?
Yeah, so I think obviously one of the biggest takeaways is that I highly recommend if students do have a chance to really take part in the co-op program. I think it really allowed me to like fully immerse myself and really gave me the connections and the knowledge of the industries before I really applied. So I kind of knew what I wanted to do after already. And it also helped me knew what I didn't want to do when I applied for jobs. So I really do think a takeaway is do the program if you can. But the other thing is once you are in the program, like really make the most out of it, like really engage with the people around you. Just because you're part of one team doesn't mean you can't connect with other people in the departments, like really really learn from the professionals, the managers in different types of work. Informational interviews is one of the great, that's how it helped me learn more about industries. Even though I was in one position, I was able to learn more about others. So yeah, I think it's just really make the most out of it.
You just brought up informational interviews, and I'm curious to know, did you have informational interviews, when you were during your co-op, and how approachable was it and how easy was it to get these interviews?
Yeah, for sure. So actually, one of our assignments when you're a co-op student is to do an informational interview with just one person. But I took that opportunity to do interviews with around 7 to 10 people in Paragon actually itself. So I talked to as many people as I could just so I could learn more from people's backgrounds and get their career advice and really have a professional development moment with people. So it was actually super easy. I think people do want to help students. People that already went through the experiences of working and everything want to be able to share what they learned to us. So it was pretty good, pretty easy.
Good to hear. And I'm glad that helped you towards your career in the future as well. Karen, this is a question for you. What, according to you, is a fulfilling internship? What do you think? Are you learning the skills that you think will help you further your career? I just want to know what you're thinking.
So something that I find is fulfilling in an internship is just doing things that you never did before in a new environment, in this case, working from home. And then also developing new skills, even speaking to the camera and doing new things keeping in mind branding when you're creating social media content and learning new tasks every day.
Great, that was well answered. So for those of you watching and for our guests, we also decided that it would be a good idea to have an employer join us to talk about their point of view. So today we have CJ, who is our manager at Paragon, and she will be talking to us a little bit about the employer side point of view of interns. Hi, CJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's so nice to be here with you ladies.
Thank you for joining us. It's nice to have you as well. CJ, we were just talking to Kimsa and Karen about fulfilling internships. And I want to know from an employer's point of view, what do you look for in an intern? And what do you think is the value of having interns at Paragon?
Great. So those are two really great questions. In terms of like what I look for in an intern, hiring interns and doing interviews for interns is so interesting because you're meeting and working with people who really this is going to be their first job. And so you can't look for, relevant work experience. And so it's as someone who hires an intern, and if you're an intern hiring who is looking for a position, the person that you're going to be interviewing with, and like, I know that you don't have work experience. So making that connection between sort of transferable skills, so projects that you might have worked on that are related to the type of work. But the number one thing that I look for is curiosity and like willingness, and like that willingness and hunger to learn. And that's the most important thing as someone who hires interns. That's someone who's asking questions about the work that they're going to be doing, and really curious to learn more about the organization and has like done their work before and is like the research into the organization and then is asking questions about it, because that signals to me that someone who's interested and willing to learn and will be willing to take on a lot of different new tasks. And in terms of the value, I cannot express enough how valuable members of the team our interns are. Like Kimsa was the first ever intern we had at Paragon in the marketing team. And so it was the first time we had a marketing intern, and it's added capacity and it helps us grow and have the ability to try and do new things because we have more competent staff, and we treat our interns very much like their staff. They are, expected to contribute. And so having any manager says, if we've got more capacity, we have more opportunity to explore new things. So having interns, like the value that they add is that it allows us to do more as a division. It allows younger members of any team to sort of develop their sort of coaching skills, but also, and I do also say that they're like our resident young people. So it's value in helping us connect to our audience. So that's sort of what we look for, is that like curiosity and like willingness to learn. And then the value is we take that curiosity and willingness to learn to add capacity to our team and organization, so that we can do more and help more people and test takers in the work that we do.
Wonderful. So for those of you who are watching, if you're applying, remember curiosity and asking questions and willingness is the key. CJ, thank you for also talking about the value of internships, because, there is a hidden kind of conversation going around that, a lot of times, at least before I was applying for internships, there was like this expectation that I might have to go around getting coffee, and like that is the breadth of my job. So it's good to hear this, and it's good for people who are watching also to hear this, that you are expected and you are given the responsibilities that regular employees are also getting.
I think I definitely, I know sometimes interns can have that perspective in mind. And I always say, I think I said this to Kimsa when she first joined, I said it to Karen, and Karen is in a position where I was like, just so you know, I would have said this if you were working in person, but like we do not send interns to go get coffee. We are too busy. You have too much to do. And the stuff that you're doing is too real nobody has time to go get coffee. So like, if I'm going to get coffee, everyone gets coffee. And that's sort of how it all goes. But it's kind of, interns are treated the same as, and it's our responsibility to communicate that when we are interviewing them so that we are an appealing place to work.
Great. Yes, definitely. It is an appealing place to work. CJ, I will ask you more questions from an employer's point of view, but something that I wanted to know from our interns and our ex-intern is there something, Kimsa, like always, because we're doing like an international perspective, I want to pick your brain about this. Was there something you wish you knew before you applied for your internship?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I wish I knew like I kind of mentioned this earlier, but like the discrepancy between job postings for international students versus domestic students. I kind of went in thinking, oh, like I get to do anything, like anyone is able to apply to. But like some of the jobs that I was interested in, I wasn't able to apply to and things like that. But I really do think that didn't really limit me in a way. Because the good thing about these programs is, sure, you have a job bank that you can apply for, but you're also able to go out and seek your own opportunities and make it a co-op program if you want to. So it doesn't stop with just whatever is put in front of you. So if you do your research, if you want, you do the informational interviews, you're able to find opportunities for your own internship or co-op.
Thank you, Kimsa. Very well said. Karen, what about you? Was there something that you wished you knew before joining an internship?
Just to ask questions, because people are really nice and people are willing to help, and they want to see you succeed too.
Great. Simple and well put. So my next question for you guys is that, so we spoke about how internships can help you further your career, but something that I'm also curious to know is, were you able to take what you studied in your program, were you able to bring that to the internship? So Karen, since we already have you here, why don't you start off?
Yeah, so I studied communications and business. And then in business, I took like a marketing course, and then it's really nice to see that, like, to have that hands-on experience and see things come to life in an actual intern experience.
Wonderful. Kimsa, I'm eager to hear your thoughts as well.
Sure, yeah. I would say my majors was international relations and anthropology, and that didn't have much to do with like business or marketing. So it was actually really interesting for me to have this job as my first co-op position, because I really learned a lot. But what I took from my majors was basically I wrote a lot of essays in my degree. And I think that really helped me with like attention to detail, for example, a bunch of like editing work. When I was able to help like edit people's work when I was at this internship, because of the professionalism you need from the essay that kind of translates into like newsletters or things like that. So yeah, it really did help for sure.
I'm glad you brought up essays, because we actually have entire tutorials on essay writing on our CAEL Prep with Brandy. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, I need to learn how to pick up essays, you know where to go. So thank you, Kimsa, for bringing that up. CJ, the question I have for you is also along the same lines. How can we as employers make sure interns get exposed to real work while also ensuring that they're not overwhelmed by the experience?
Sure. The thing about being an intern, and it tends to be your first work experience, and we employers, good employers, will do what they can to make the intern feel comfortable, and that they are in a safe place to learn, and that I understand that this is an experience where interns, the outcome of the intern is as important for the intern's like educational experience and professional development is as important as our work deliverables. And so it is really, I communicate that, and good employers will communicate that they value your development as an intern. And so in creating that place and having that sense of communication and that open channel of communication, it's the best way to make sure that an intern can feel comfortable going to their sort of intern supervisor. And also proactively just like checking in every once in a while, especially in these virtual sort of internships. And I do think that you can derive a tremendous amount of value in a virtual internship. I've literally never met Karen face to face, but I can speak to Karen's like incredible capacity to deliver high quality work on time that helps us meet our goals as an organization. And so it's really important that I check in with Karen every once in a while, but also that Karen knows she can come to me if she needs anything. And so that's really sort of a good way to make sure that they're not overwhelmed and sort of facilitating communication and introduction with other team members so that it's like any good onboarding, that the new person on the team gets to know the team and then very as quickly as possible becomes a cohesive, integrated part of that team. And so it's kind of no different than any sort of new staff in making sure that they feel not overwhelmed, but it is very specific to an internship that we make sure that those educational deliverables and that their development is part of it and that we take it seriously.
Gotcha. And CJ, I hear what you're saying, because when I was an intern, I was always kind of hesitant to reach out to my manager or supervisor, because I was always like, I'm pretty sure there are other important things that they have to talk about than be concerned with their interns' requirements. So it's nice to know, and it's nice to hear you say this. And we're kind of reaching towards the end of our episode. So CJ, before I let you go, I have one last question for you. Can you please share a favorite memory you have with an intern?
Yeah, you told me you were going to ask me this question, and still I feel like there are too many. I've had a number of interns, and in my job prior to this one, I had interns, and I've had interns that were, third year university student, fourth year university students, but I've also had like high school student interns. And so I think my favorite part out of any intern has been seeing so it's not a specific memory, but rather like a specific process where it's like seeing a former intern like add me on LinkedIn as like an adult with a job, or like having an intern reach out because they're struggling with like deciding between two positions, or they need a reference for something. And so it's the best part of my job, both for like, is both, and specifically for interns, is like seeing young people develop like professional competencies and confidence to sort of be successful professionals. So it's not like one specific thing, but it's just like seeing the process for several years of the growth of like our interns who are becoming like accomplished professionals. And although Kimsa is the first intern that I've been able to sort of hire full time, she was our first Paragon intern, which feels like a really nice sort of journey from our first ever intern to the first full-time job opportunity that we've been able to hire, like almost 2 years later.
No, that's wonderful, because it kind of speaks to the fact that we're willing to invest really in your growth as an intern, because someday you can come back and work for us, or we're just really willing to see you grow and develop. So
yeah, it's a tremendous amount of value to an employer when someone is knowledgeable about their organization. So it really is valuable, and there is a ton of opportunity for interns to progress into sort of full-time employment. And it might not always be right outside the job, like right after your internship, because most have to go back to school. And so, but it could be after graduation, because you have a relationship with that organization. And when you like do very good work and contribute to that organization, it's such an appealing new hire, because the onboarding process is so much faster. People are comfortable and know the team, and they know your organization. And so there's a tremendous amount of value in that for an employment stand. So that's definitely my, like, I would say that's probably like a really cool, one of my favorite things I've experienced.
Nice. Thank you, CJ, for saying that. And Kimsa is here, and I'm sure she also has things to share about this journey that she's taken. But really, thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts as an employer. I'm sure that students who are watching feel a little more comfortable hearing what employers have to say. So thank you. So Kimsa and Karen, let's talk about your favorite experiences. So do you have a favorite experience that you'd like to share when you were an intern or a co-op program? Kimsa, why don't you start?
Yeah, for sure. I think definitely when I worked in Paragon, I think one of the, I guess it's not really a one-time experience either, but I think what I really saw that I was able to grow and develop like really professionally, but also personally through the team that I was able to be a part of, the boss that I had, which is CJ. I kind of left Paragon knowing like the kind of team environment I wanted to be in. And so the next kind of opportunities that I had, like that was kind of like what I was looking for as well. Kind of like having that support and that like real belief in you as an intern and also as a person. But I also did want to say that I had a project that I worked on. There was like this data analysis project for this report. And I've been using that kind of I've been using this example to really help me with not just other job experiences, but also my school. Like I was able to work like PowerPoint and I really understood data from this experience. So I think it really helped me grow that way as well. So.
Thank you, Kimsa. Karen, I'm looking forward to hearing your story as well.
So something that I really enjoy, something that I've been working on lately is TikTok. We have a new TikTok account at CAEL Test on TikTok. It's just something new and like something really fun that has so much like potential and so many unknown possibilities. And so it's really nice to like plan and just to like execute a project with like fellow interns and with like amazing guiding like mentors that are really helpful with guiding me.
Wonderful. And Karen, thank you for that subtle product placement. Yes, we do have like CAEL Test on TikTok. And if you want to see how Karen's doing and the videos, they're really helpful and they're all talking about international education and just like student life and how you can work with online education. What are the things you can do to make sure that you're having a fulfilling education? So do check us out on TikTok. Our account is called CAEL Test. Anyway, thank you both for joining us and answering our questions. I'm sure that people who are watching are getting a lot of help from this. So thank you for joining us. So that was our last question. If you still have questions about internship, please comment below and we can address it on our next episode. We also provide CAEL Test lessons on a separate playlist. CJ, Kimsa, and Karen were talking a lot about the value they were able to get with writing and with data. And then there's more stuff that you can learn about the CAEL Test. So please check it out. It's called CAEL Prep with Brandy. We drop a lesson every Tuesday. We've covered academic writing and reading so far. If you are an international student living abroad or in Canada, you may be eligible for the CAEL Scholarship. If you took the CAEL Test on or after July 2020, or if you're planning to take it in the near future, please do check us out. I will link our scholarship page below. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comments as well. Lastly, we are aware that a few of our locations in Ontario are back in lockdown. So if you're looking to write the CAEL Test, you can do so at home. Please consider writing CAEL online for your academic English proficiency test. It is the same test, only you can do it in your computer at home. The link is in the description below as well. Our next episode will be on Thursday, the 10th of December at 11 a.m. PST. Please join us and also invite anybody else who is interested in studying in Canada. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for future videos. Until then, please stay safe and have a nice weekend. Bye.